Hello, this is the TradeSite Forex Market Preview and International Economic Data Roadmap for the week beginning Sunday, the 27th of May, 2018, ending Friday, June 1st, entering the summer months already. Here's a look at the dollar index. This is the DX. We headed up this week a little bit. It wasn't much of a week until late in the week. Excuse me. And then it's still not a lot of range. It's just a couple days of action. Let's look at the major dollar or major daily chart indices, and then we'll look at the intra-week action, and then we'll look at the data coming out this next week. Again, just so you know, Monday is the Memorial Day holiday here in the U.S., so it is a short week. We will not be making calls Sunday night with the banks closed here in the U.S. Monday. Typically, that means the market's pretty dead unless there's some news somewhere else in the world. Here's the euro dollar, obviously the inverse of the dollar index at this point. Here's the pound, also made new lows, and it's now 11. Oh no, it just got recycled. So we got no seeker count going there. Euro yen had a plunge of a week here to new lows for the last 6 months. Aussie dollar did nothing, dead flat. Pound yen also dipped this week. Pound Swiss also dipped this week. New Zealand dollar dead flat. All right, let's look at the intra-week action. So this is 30-minute candles on the euro dollar. High to low for the week is about 180 pips. Most of the days are pretty dead. It really didn't show us much. Here's the pound dollar high to low for the week. Here is 200 pips, which is much better. But Wednesday was the bigger trading day. Friday we had a winner. We carried over a little bit. I mean, it was all right, but it wasn't a very interesting week from a forex perspective. We are entering the summer months. At some point, we typically go half size for summer. I'm not going to do that yet because I don't know that it's slowed down enough. But when we see the slowdown, it's usually in July. But if it's before then, we will let everybody know. Let's go through the economic data coming out this week. So Monday is a bank holiday for the U.S. and the U.K., which means there's no reason to make calls. We got the unemployment rate out of Japan Monday night at 7:30 p.m. Trade balance out of Switzerland going into Tuesday. Private loans and money supply out of Europe. We got the consumer confidence number here in the U.S. at 10 a.m. Eastern time on Tuesday. Building consents out of New Zealand. Retail sales out of Japan. Building approvals out of Australia. Going into Wednesday, consumer confidence out of Japan. German retail sales, German import prices, nationwide HPI, that's the housing price index out of the UK, German preliminary CPI, French consumer spending and preliminary GDP, Spanish flash CPI, German unemployment change, Swiss credit Suisse economic expectations, Italian 10-year bond auction, US, we got the ADP non-farm employment number at 8:15 a.m. on Wednesday, current account out of Canada along with their RMPI and IPPI. We got the preliminary GDP number here in the U.S. along with the goods trade balance and the price preliminary GDP price index. Now that's the second look at GDP, not the advanced number, so it's not a big deal. Bank of Canada at 10 a.m. has their rate announcement. Beige Book in the U.S. at 2 p.m. Consumer confidence out of the U.K. at 7 p.m. Eastern time Wednesday night. Industrial production out of Japan after that. China's got their manufacturing and non-manufacturing PMI numbers. Private capital expenditure out of the Australian sector, private sector credit there, GDP out of Switzerland along with housing starts out of Japan, French preliminary CPI, retail sales out of Switzerland, Italian monthly unemployment rate, UK's got their mortgage approvals number, CPI flash estimates out of Europe, Italian CPI unemployment rate out of Europe, that's a lot at 5 a.m. Eastern time on Thursday. Challenger job cuts, GDP out of Canada at 8:30 a.m. on Thursday, along with core PCE price index and personal income and spending and the weekly initial and continuing jobless claims here in the U.S. 9:45 a.m. Chicago PMI, pending home sales at 10, natty gas at 10:30, crude oil inventories at 11 because of the holiday on Monday. Got some Fed members speaking. Australia does their AIG manufacturing index and overseas trade index. Japan's capital spending, final manufacturing PMI, Caxton manufacturing PMI out of China. Going to Friday, commodity prices out of Australia, Spanish PMI, manufacturing PMI, Swiss manufacturing PMI, same with Italy, France, Germany, and the broad European sector. And then the UK, they're all within like an hour of each other going into Friday. We got the non-farm payrolls and unemployment rate here in the US at 8:30 a.m. on Friday. That means we'll be half size ahead of that. Thursday night, Canadian manufacturing PMI, and then the final manufacturing PMI and ISM and manufacturing PMI along with construction spending here in the U.S. So it'll be no call Sunday night for the holiday on Monday, half size Thursday going into Friday because of the unemployment rate, and that is it. Charts, as usual, brought to you by eSignal. By the way, we're going to be heading into the summer months from here. At some point in time, things are going to slow down even worse here for Forex. We'll see what happens. That's just what happens every year. Keep looking at those overnight trades that we offer in the course. and those will be a little more profitable probably than the regular trade calls if ranges get narrow. Charts as usual brought to you by eSignal. If you've not yet taken a trial of our services, feel free to do so. We will help you out for a couple weeks. Have a great trading week.